term effects of these medications, GLP-1s?
This is what drives me nuts with clients when they call, and it's not in a bad way. They don't know, they're not educated, and it's all new. And I'd want to know too if I was personally looking into this without, or being the layman and not knowing medical at all. Or even if you are medical, you still don't know. It's the unknown. But when everyone says, well, I'm really worried about the long-term risks, or what happens to my body? Am I going to be a diabetic with the insulin, and am I going to shut down my stomach, or this or that? The medication's been out for over a decade. It's a genre of GLP-1 therapies with diabetics that's been out. So you've had an opportunity to see these studies and to do well, or to see the long-term effects of that. But my number one rebuttal is, you're worried about long-term effects with medications that have shown success to be safe and efficacious and efficient with this genre to lose weight and be healthy and to help with the diabetics and pre-diabetics. But my rebuttal is simply this: the effects of being a diabetic, a pre-diabetic, or morbid obesity, the long-term risk or effects is death, period. If you are 300 pounds plus, horrible blood pressure, cholesterol for more than 5 to 10 years, you're going to die earlier. The long-term effects and use of smoking is death. You don't worry about those long-term risks and read all that. When someone says, well, I'm worried about being on this and then all this other stuff that happens. Now all of a sudden you're worried about long-term risk of this, when I would say you've never even looked into the quality of air that you breathe for the long-term risks. Are you using floral scents and room deodorizers? Are you looking into the molecular complexity of the salt that's put on your McDonald's French fries? Are you worried about that? But no, you've been on that for 20 or 30 years to say, well, now all of a sudden I'm worried about long-term risks or effects. Are you worried about the long-term risk or effects of the statins that you've used for 20 or 30 years from your family primary care provider? Did you want to do your homework on these and look into those effects to see if that's truly the 100% of the main active ingredient that you're using, or are you getting that medication sourced in from overseas or Canada or Mexico? So when someone says long-term effects, I'm literally looking at my dad dead in the chair 7 years ago. His risk of long-term effects of being morbid obese, smoking, drinking, and unhealthy was death at 63 years old. So when someone says I'm worried about side effects or long-term risk, it really hits me hard to say, you've only cared about this for now maybe a month or so looking into these medications. Let's talk about the last 20 years of you worrying about any risk or effects of long-term use of whatever you've been using.